Welcome back to Fujitsu Forum, where we continue to bring you the inside track by vertical of all the challenges faced in industry. We've had some excellent insight from some wonderful speakers today. Earlier on we discussed retail with Jat Sahi and James Maynard. James, it feels like you and I have just moved around the venue today and picked up conversations at various points. I want to delve into Internet of Things with retail. When we were speaking with Jat Sahi earlier, he highlighted the importance of IoT not just being about the consumer buying journey from an online perspective, but there's far more in retail that can be informed by the great data you guys are now gathering. Tell us a bit about that.
Yeah, so I think, as we've talked about before, it's about actually how do we apply that data and how that data is used, and that's what allows IoT to be applied in lots of different verticals. If we take it back to the kind of consumer piece, if you like, actually there's a consumer in home that is beginning to develop and collect data around what's needed. So by having almost a smart home environment, understanding what is in your fridge, understanding the next things that you might need, begins to then allow you to populate things like shopping lists. And it's not about necessarily just an online buying experience. There's a much deeper experience there, and about how that can then begin to be utilised to enhance the consumer experience within a retail environment. And I think there's two factors to it. There's a factor about a consumer experience, and then there's a factor about actually what can the retailer begin to do with that information. And Geoff's the expert on actually what the retailer is beginning to do with that in order to drive some real value.
I want to get my people to come into my store, to come out from behind the internet terminals and enjoy the excitement of what's the retail store. So I want to have the best experience to get them to come to the store. One of the ways I can do that is to try and track their journey within the store. If I can get some insight with all the privacy controls in place, but get some insight into their journey, I can learn the hotspots at the store, so I can put the products that they're interested in the right place. And more importantly, I can also deploy my staff to be in the place where they want to be. I can also perhaps identify the cold spots of the store, the stocks, areas where people don't visit, and what do I do to change my layout, the merchandising in the store, to incentivize people to have a look at other things in the store. If that person with either an application on their phone or some other way of identifying themselves, perhaps going to a internet kiosk in the store, wants to identify themselves, then I can continue the journey that they started at home, looking perhaps at products that they saw at home and say, hang on, that shirt that you looked at last night, we've got it in your size in the store. Not only have we got it in your size, because you're a loyal customer, I can give you a discount on that. And by the way, the trousers that go with it are also on promotion today for you. So I improve that journey for the customer and incent them to come to the store and complete the transaction.
It's fascinating this. I know throughout the course of this year we've spoken a lot about the trials and tribulations of the high street. We had that wonderful report came out earlier in the year, the Forgotten Shop Floor, that was throwing a spotlight over what was happening on our high streets. I think the misconception by a lot of people is digital replacing physical. The Fujitsu philosophy is the two integrated, and then retail thrives.
Absolutely. Many years ago when I started, someone said to me, retail is theatre. Retail is exciting. People like to shop. Okay, you might not like to shop for things like toilet paper, but you do like to shop for fashion, you like to feel it. Come into the store, enjoy the excitement, but be rewarded for coming into the store. And by having the internet things of devices, we can follow you and we can tailor that to personalize that experience.
How far can we scale personalization? I mean, it feels like we've only just scratched the surface with what we can do with the data now, but just how far can we take it? I know we touched on this briefly earlier, James, but when I'm walking into store, am I going to be able to see dynamic content served to me based on RFID, perhaps?
I think for me, when technology is truly seamless, it becomes magical. And that magical journey is what retailers want to try and deliver. And you can begin to deliver that customized, bespoke experience that's tailored to an individual once you begin to learn and have that information related to them. And I think that's what Geoff's trying to allude to, is there's an excitement about being in retail, and actually IoT allows us to begin to gather those insights. That data, again, it's about what do we do with that data, how do we drive value, and it just depends on which vertical you're trying to apply it in and what the business challenge that a particular sector has.
It's fascinating stuff. I could talk about this all day. I love the fact that we've been able to put away with the myth that digital is doing away with retail jobs, when quite the opposite. It's just informing us of where to put our retail staff and how to put them to work in store and how to utilise their craft and their knowledge there.
And value the fact that you've come to visit my store to make it worthwhile to come, and keep coming back. Keep coming back because you know there's going to be something exciting, personalised to you. If you're prepared to identify yourself to me, and there's some trust there, and then privacy implications of that, but once you have that relationship, then I can really tailor that offer so the personalisation can come down to one-to-one. Even if you don't want to identify yourself today, we have examples here where I can recognise the gender and age of a person looking at a display, and then tailor the image that's on my display to that person. So for example, here we're showing, if you're a male over 25, I will show you beer and pizza. If you're under 25, you just get the pizza, unfortunately, and a soft drink.
You've distracted me now. The thought of pizza and beer, I've lost all my questions. We're going to continue to bring you the inside track from Fujitsu Forum. We've still got more to come today, where we're going to endeavour to explain what a sock in a box is. More to come.